I'm your host, Steve Mitchell Bell, and we have here in the studio Rick Malice. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing great. Hi, folks.
And it's great having you here, Rick. Thank you very much for coming in. And well, first, right off the bat, you want to play something for us?
Yeah, I actually picked out an appropriate song. This is a song I wrote about coming to Washington, PA, directly from Lawrence, Massachusetts, when I was 19 years old, and I thought that was a good one to start with.
Okay.
It's called Drive. Well, I watched the twilight falling as I kicked the car in gear. Hit the highway headed south on 95. I gotta get it moving around every Make Emporia by night. But I don't mind the solitude, I love to feel the wind, simple rhythm of the engine and the road. Flying through the quiet night, I never ever mind that I'm alone. Drive, gonna put my heart and shoulder to the wheel, leave the world behind. Drive, make up every minute I could steal if I wanna feel alive. I gotta drive. Well, I bought a sky blue Mustang in the fall of '69. Soon I left my family home for one last time. I got that V8 humming as I headed for the Pennsylvania line. With a heart so young and yearning and a pocket full of dreams, I was surrounded by a vast vermilion sky. I set my new life running and I never worried what I left behind. Drive, gonna put my heart and shoulder to the wheel, leave the world behind. Drive, make up every minute I can steal if I wanna feel alive. I gotta drive. You know, I've done my share of living and I had a wreck or two. Still, I never lost my longing for the road, the bright promise of tomorrow, the sweet mystery of what's around the bend. I know I'll always follow every twist and every turn, keep on pushing time and time again. Who knows, maybe I'll find myself a peaceful little road that never ends. Drive, gonna put my heart and shoulder to the wheel, leave the world behind. Drive, make up every minute I could steal if I wanna feel alive. I gotta drive. I gotta drive. I gotta drive. I gotta drive.
All right. It is a road song. It
That's
makes
a road
you feel
tune.
like, yeah.
I'm a big road song guy.
Well, that's when I do some of my writing is like, do you find that happening when you're driving around in the car, and is that when you get the ideas?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Well, I love to drive. I'm not kidding.
if you want to pull that mic a little bit closer to your guitar, if
This
you would,
one
please.
here?
Yep.
Okay.
You won't break it. You'll be fine. Drop it down just a little bit. There you go.
All right, cool.
I think you were right about the sound being a little bit troubly there. Even a little bit more. You're fine. You can bring
Okay.
it down. There you go. Okay. So I was looking over, and when I was looking over your bio and looking through your website before I asked you to come on, there was one thing that stood out was the fact that you were an alum and
That's right.
you played your first show here.
My first professional show was 1970. A student named Jonathan Conrad, I think it was Jonathan, he was the brains behind setting up a coffee shop, which was kind of the rage back then. It was 1970, and there's a perfect place at the bottom of Old Main. It was in the basement, had a lot of pipes going through it, so you had to watch your head a bit. But they had a really dynamite coffee shop there.
Yeah, I was just looking at the Pipe Room Coffee House.
Yeah,
and you did a lot. You did cover tunes. It looked like from when
I did covers, but I was writing at the time too.
Oh,
So
wow, cool.
yeah, I did. I can't remember it, but I wrote something called a W&J Rag, and
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really got myself going there. I had a couple wonderful professors here too. There was an English professor by the name of Dwayne Thorpe who was an extraordinary roots folk singer, and I learned a whole lot from him. And I also took a music class from Jim Lucas, who was a singer-songwriter. So we all got kind of going. There were a lot of good musicians on campus back then too.
Wow, that's cool. So you came from Lawrence?
I came from Lawrence, Massachusetts, basically a working class town and 30 miles northeast of Boston. Pretty much Massachusetts is like that. You got a working class town, and then you have the Yankee town. Pretty class oriented, different than Pennsylvania.
Was Lawrence where the
It was the big strike, the famous
strike?
Yeah, the Lawrence textile strike.
Yeah,
1912, I think it was.
Yeah, this is the anniversary last year. Something I remember
Yeah.
seeing online about that.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very famous strike. And if you go to Lawrence, a lot of the original mills are still there. They're quite striking. But Lawrence is even. It was a really tough town back then. The textile industry had left in the 50s and 60s when I was growing up. But it was kind of a cool town. It was just like Pittsburgh. It was a town of immigrants, and but more pugnacious than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's one of the friendliest places I've ever been. Massachusetts is one of the least friendly places, and I lived there till I was 19.
Yeah, I moved to Boston when I was in
So you know it. Just what's it like to drive there?
driving there, and also there's it's kind of like here where I heard all about like they were from Southie and the different different portions of Dorchester, and stay out of this and stay out of that.
Dorchester.
And Gapakika and Wicked Cool and
Pisser. That's Pisser. But it was it was a pretty cool place to grow up because we were near the ocean, and it was 30 minutes to Boston. I mean, you could be to the mountains. It's a gorgeous area. Actually, I'm going to move back there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in a few years.
I'm pretty sure I was there at one point. I'm on one of my road trips. One of my things we went out to eat or something to that effect. But yeah, I seem to remember going through there at some point. So you moved to Pittsburgh, where you moved here to go to school, and then stayed here.
Yeah. I when I first came here, I was kind of horrified at the town of Washington and Pittsburgh, but I fell in love and stayed, and every year I was here, it just got nicer and nicer. I always loved the friendliness of the people, and I loved Pittsburgh. I loved the city of Pittsburgh, and back then it was a great folk music town too.
Yeah.
So I've had a wonderful life here.
Yeah, back then the steel mills were still moving and going, and at least here in town back in the '70s. And I know that.
Yeah, but as soon as I graduated from W&J, I mean that was right in the middle of the recession.
Yeah.
So things were tough in my 20s. So
yeah,
I just carried on and played a lot of music and worked odd jobs.
Right.
Till I had to finally grow up and get a real job. That's when I moved to Pittsburgh.
There, I hear you. Well, hey, in case you just joined us, we have Rick Malice here in the studio on Acoustic Songs Live, and we stream the show live at WNJR.org. Just click on the headphones icon to the left on the page, and you can listen live. And we also broadcast at 91.7 FM, and you will be able to see and listen to the podcast at acousticsongs.com. I put that up right now. I'm about a week behind, but I'll get caught up probably over the holidays when I'm sitting around after I eat all my, holiday ham and food and open up and eat all my candy canes and all that kind of stuff, and I'm in a sugar coma, for a while. But Rick, you want to play another tune for us?
Yeah. That first one was on my first solo record, which I had a ball doing, and once I started doing them, I've kept doing them because there's a difference between the stuff I write for myself and the stuff I write for the bands that I've played in, whether it's bluegrass or honky tonk with the Mavens. So I write a lot of my stuff tends to be more autobiographical and or partly truth and partly fiction, as Chris Christopherson would say. And with the bands, it's a whole different dynamic, and it's mostly I'm making stuff up. Mm-hmm. This is semi-true. This tune is called. It's the title tune of my new CD called Heartbreak Town, and it's kind of about my experiences in Nashville, but it's spoken from somebody who actually spent a lot of time living there and working it. I have just been a periodic visitor. I was very, very lucky to get published early. And it's not like I've been making a whole lot of money from it, but I still have a relationship with it, and I always like to visit. And my last visit was during an Americana music festival, and a lot of these ideas crystallized into this song called Heartbreak Town. Thought it'd be a big deal in this heartbreak town. Thought everything I touched it turned to gold. Started at the bottom, now I'm sliding down. Just about as far as anyone could go. I'm leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Look out Highway 40, here I come. Heading to Memphis, make a brand new start. Leaving this lonesome heartbreak town, leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Well, walked down every street of this heartbreak town, knocked on every door on Music Row, sang my heart out every night to closing time. Well, I stayed too long and I'm bound to go. I'm leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Look out Highway 40, here I come. Heading to Memphis, make a brand new start. Leaving this lonesome heartbreak town, leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Where Hank Williams used to walk the same one streets, drinking these shabby Broadway bars. When they kicked him off the Opry stage, now I know how I felt when he split this town. I'm leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Look out Highway 40, here I come. Heading to Memphis, make a brand new start. Leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. I'm leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Look out Highway 40, here I come. Heading to Memphis, make a brand new start. Leaving this lonesome heartbreak town. Leaving this lonesome heartbreak town.
Yeah, I like that. It does capture the essence of.
Yeah, if you've spent time in Nashville, you kind of get it. I mean, to the people who don't know much about Nashville, Music Row is where all the publishing houses are, and that's where you go get on your knees and beg for a cut.
Yeah, and one of the, I didn't spend a lot of time there, and I, growing up here, being exposed to a certain type of music when I was growing up, listening to classic rock, now they call it, as far as like finding that other kind of music out there, like roots oriented type of stuff. I grew up in this town here, and it was whatever I could find on the radio. And I remember getting a Steve Forbert album and going like, wow, yeah. This guy's doing, this is like kind of like what I like, and by then Dylan had kind of peaked, I mean, he was playing, classic rock, like stuff on, I think that was Blood on the Tracks around that time period, but there really wasn't, of course, I wasn't close enough to pick up any of the good stations like YEP was. I don't even know if they were on the air back then, but some of the other.
Well, they were, I think, by around 1974, 5, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're playing this kind of music we're playing here now live is something that isn't, you can't really find it unless you probably go down to Wheeling and maybe some of the jamboree stuff they would play.
Yeah.
And I mean, there really wasn't a kind of roots oriented music station around, to get that kind of influence.
No, but like I'm telling you, the folk scene here was wonderful, and during my college years, I became familiar with Doc Watson and Mississippi John Hurt. And country rock was just starting to happen.
The Allman Brothers.
And I started playing bluegrass. I had a bluegrass band. They used to play the Pipe Room. We were called the Commode Huggers. We thought it was clever back then.
Well, if you're in college, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that goes on.
And actually, one of my best friends to this day started the W&J Bluegrass Festival. I don't know if they still do it, but it was a wonderful thing. And we had Flatt and Scruggs up here, and all kinds of So there was some cool stuff happening.
Yeah. See, I mean, I wouldn't have even known who that was. I wouldn't know who that was. Flatt and Scruggs. I wouldn't have known, what that was if I was growing up here because I wasn't
that's
exposed.
That's because you were a townie.
Yeah, but still, even it was completely foreign to me. I've talked with other guests about this. You go down to Morgantown, all of a sudden you're in a totally different
Yeah.
realm of musical. It's like the spine of the Appalachians runs, and
Right.
and people move up and down those mountains and play that mountain music stuff. It's
Right. Right.
and we're just a little bit too far north, I guess. I don't know what it is.
I tell you the truth, when I got here, I was shocked to hear how much soul music was on the radio. That's pretty much what was on the radio
Yeah.
in Western Pennsylvania. I started as I was going past Philadelphia. That's where it started.
Yeah.
The Delphonics, and by the time I got to Pittsburgh, it was that, and of course some FM rock.
Yeah.
DVE was here at the time too.
Yeah, and I remember there was stations like KQV. They
Yeah.
played like the AM stuff, and then
Yeah.
then the FM stuff started up. But finding roots music, it was all and I feel like I'm starting to learn all about these folks like the Carter family and all this stuff that people have known about for years and years and years. And it's
Well, I always worked backwards. I mean, I'd find an art like Bob Dylan. I was profoundly influenced by two people or groups. The Beatles, obviously, which kind of blew my mind when I was 14, and then Bob Dylan, who was so great. I think very much through the 60s and 50s, 60s, and part of the 70s. But if he gave you a path. All you had to do was trace back. If you trace back a little bit, you went back to Woody Guthrie. Trace back a little farther, you'd go to the Carter family and Hank Williams and my professor here, who became a good friend, Dwayne Thorpe. He knew all that stuff. He taught me all that stuff.
Yeah, and then the blues. I knew the blues side of things, going back to the Delta blues and everything. I knew that part, but not the bluegrass side of things. That was a totally different other world, and most of the country music that was stuff my grandfather listened to, and I wasn't into it.
That's right.
It wasn't cool.
That's right.
It was like he'd put it on the. He had a 69 or 67 Valiant, and he would dial in the country station. And
well, it became cool again when you had bands like the Burrito Brothers and Commander Cody.
Yes.
And that's how we got turned on to it. And then we traced that back to, Merle and
George
Jones
Yeah.
and Buck Owens and
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash and Bob Wills. And those today continue to be profound influences on me.
Yeah, I agree. I find that music to be so honest and real, and just and part of it is like when you go down to Nashville and you go to those places and you're at Tootsie's and you're walking those same streets and you see it's there. You can feel the soul of the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
you just can't hear it on the radio.
Yeah, Broadway's. Yeah, you can't. No,
it's the songwriting itself, and obviously the music has lost its depth.
Yeah,
and that's what was great with like Merle or Johnny Cash, the authenticity of it, and they were talking about adult themes.
Yeah,
in a incredibly articulate way.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it was a simple, honest way of writing.
That's right.
Hank Williams,
Harlan Howard said it: 3 chords and the truth.
Yeah, and those guys, and that's what I've learned to appreciate the songwriting. That a lot of times, I just try to be too clever about things, and and try to just be too deep in language, and sometimes it's just better to be very simple about. There's some good guys coming out now, like Jamie Johnson. I like his stuff. Mm-hmm. I like some of these new guys that are playing. Like some of it is just
they're connected to the tradition.
Yeah.
Which is why we like that. But I mean, how can Taylor Swift be called a country artist?
No,
she's a pop artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to denigrate what she does. It's just, it's for a different audience and it's a different thing.
And just throw a banjo and fiddle in and call it country. That's all.
Yeah.
It's really the Eagles rock, you know, or something. It really, it's
Well, as Jeff Lebowski said, I hate the Eagles.
yeah. Well, hey, I'd love it if you'd play something else for us.
All right, this is also off my Heartbreak Town CD, and Heartbreak Town didn't. I didn't think I was making a concept album till I looked at all the songs that I'd written in the last 5-6 years between records, and when I reflected on it, it was, you know, the last 10 years have been kind of heartbreaking in a lot of ways. So there was a lot of stuff to write about, and sometimes I don't even recognize it till after the fact, and that kind of happened here. But when I wrote this song, I kind of knew I had to do another CD just so I could put this song on it. This is a song that's very, very close to my heart and very true. It's called Highway 1, and it refers to a road that runs from like Hampton Beach north, and it's always been kind of a sanctuary road for me. It's a road I always used to go back every summer and drive it, and sort of just, it was my reflection road. And it also connected.
Hampton Beach, in what state? Like Massachusetts?
It starts in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
And
okay.
goes up.
Okay. Yeah.
And it also connected my generations. Mm-hmm. And that's how this song came about, Highway 1. Set our Father in the ground, and I said farewell to my hometown, headed north under summer sun, in search of grace on Highway 1. My grandfather crossed the sea, shed his past and pray in peace. But he knew his journey done behind the wheel on Highway 1. I come back here nearly every year to drive this old two-lane. Gives me strength, I'm forever young. This old road, old Highway 1. It's a moonlit summer night. Yellow Shoals is on my right. Another journey has begun. My old friend, old Highway 1. I come back here almost every year to drive this old two-lane. Gives me strength. I'm forever young. This old road, old Highway 1.
Beautiful song.
Oh, thanks.
That's a great song. I think I know I've been on that road, going up through there, trying to remember what
You mean the
town.
road to heartbreak?
No, the Highway 1. Yeah, I've been on that one too, quite a few times. But Highway 1, I remember there was a band called Orleans. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Still the one. Remember that band? They came.
Still the one.
Wasn't that the band? I'm trying to, and they came out of a town somewhere up there in New Hampshire, and we stopped there, and had the best oysters. I think it's where the fisherman statue is, where the actual.
That's Gloucester.
Is it Gloucester?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gloucester. Is that
Gloucester, I think they call
Gloucester,
it.
Gloucester, Massachusetts, is
Yeah.
it? And right across the line, it's really close to the line, I think, isn't it?
Gloucester?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Oh, okay. I don't know. If I'm
Close to the line is Seabrook.
Seabrook.
Yeah.
And I think I went. Is there a beach there?
Yeah, Seabrook.
Maybe.
Seabrook Beach.
I went
And
somewhere.
then there's Hampton Beach.
I think I went to Hampton Beach.
Then you cross into New Hampshire.
I think I went to Hampton
Yeah,
Beach.
Hampton's kind of honky-tonky.
I think I went there. It reminded me a lot of like the boardwalk that they have in Jersey.
Yeah,
all
that's
that.
exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I went to swim, and that was a mistake. And it was summer, and it was 50.
Cold, huh?
I've never, I'm used to going down to Virginia Beach in the summertime, right? I stepped in that water in the middle of summer, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, nope, not swimming today.
We had a cottage just south of that in Salisbury, and the water was really cold.
Oh, yeah. Had the best.
Go up to Maine.
Oyster.
You've been in the Maine Ocean?
I went all the way to Acadia. I drove 3 all the way up along the coast there, and had the best lobster, and I mean,
can't beat that.
it stayed at Acadia, and I keep trying to talk my wife into going up.
That's a
she's
nice
never
trip.
been there, but it is a long drive, even just.
Not by Pennsylvania standards.
Well, 12 hours just to get up to Boston, but then once you get
Yeah. From here, it's
if
a
you
long
would
drive.
if you would fly into Boston and then drive, then I forget how long it takes to get up to Acadia.
To Arcadia?
Yeah,
That's probably 4 hours.
Oh, is that all? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think more than that.
I can't remember.
I might be.
It was a long time ago.
Of
course,
diluted, but I think that's.
We took the coastline.
Well, you're supposed to take 95, get there fast, or if you took the coast, I'm sure it would take a little longer, but that's the way to go.
Beautiful country. We went through Kennebunkport, I remember. Like, went up that way. I remember, like, we had to see where the Bush's compound was, Like, oh, there it is. Okay, bye.
That's right. Bye-bye.
And, it was a great trip. So, the album you were referring to, Heartbreak Town, and that was recorded when? When did you? Was that recently?
I recorded that this year. Yeah.
Here in town? Did you go?
With Doug Wilkin.
Oh, wow.
I've done my last two CDs with Doug, and it's just been a fantastic experience.
I think he also plays on the record, right?
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's the beauty of it is I do the basic tracks in my home, and then I take it to the studio. We think about it, we talk about it, and then he starts filling out the structure, and then we then we add the color.
Is he also part of the Mavens?
No.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if he was part of that band.
He was a member of the Dog Run Boys for a short period of time, however.
And that was prior to Mavens, or did you?
Way prior. Yeah,
had them all going at the same time. Like people that are in many different bands at the same time. I was looking here over, and you were down in West Virginia, and there was a band called Windy Ridge. Was that the first professional band that you started, or was there one before that?
Yeah. That was the first. I guess you couldn't consider the Commode Huggers a real band.
Well, yeah,
we didn't play beyond the pipe room, but Windy Ridge was my first band. I moved in the early '70s. I moved to towards the Bethany, West Virginia area.
Oh, okay.
And eventually bought a farm there, and I met a whole bunch of great bluegrass musicians in that area. That's actually, Tim O'Brien comes out of Wheeling, and he was actually coming back and forth, so I would get to pick with him.
Oh,
there was
wow.
a great bluegrass band called the Hutchison Brothers, a traditional bluegrass band there. There was I forget their name. There was another really good, but anyway, I met Ed Mahonen and Bill Gorby, and we formed Windy Ridge, and then we formed another band after that too called Stony Lonesome. Had a great time.
Yeah, I was just looking at that Stony Lonesome, and from there, did you go? There's another band called Rodeo Smoke. Right?
Yeah. I was playing in two bands at that time. I was playing country rock. Heavily influenced by, like Burrito Brothers and the Byrds and the hard country too, and that's where I got my education about country music, and I just had a ball doing that. I never thought I would get to do it again till the Mavens, but I was also still playing in Stone Lonesome, and then eventually I started playing in Pittsburgh all the time. I joined the Bluefield Boys, which are a great bluegrass band. Played every Friday night at Hemingway's. No, at Frankie Gustine's, which is now Hemingway's.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was a great bar, and there was the Portfolio was there, and Wobbly Joe's, one of the greatest bars of all time in Pittsburgh, was there. And then in 1979, I really wanted to play in a high-quality band, so I formed a band with the great mandolinist, Bob Artist, Bernie Cunningham, and banjo wizard Don Sheehan, and played in the Dog Run Boys for almost 20 years.
Okay, I was looking over here. So the Dog Run Boys was around for a long time, and you guys were all over the place playing, opening for folks, and then that became the Mavens.
Well, the Mavens was just like a fluke, but it was kind of connected. I was playing a Dog Run Boys reunion at Walsh's Bar. If you've ever been to Walsh's Bar, but Walsh's Bar was basically the headquarters of bluegrass music in Pittsburgh in the 50s and 60s. That's where Mac Martin used to play.
Wow, and Dixie Travelers, huh?
Yeah, in East Liberty, really? Unbelievable dump. But it was...
Is it near Kelly's?
Yeah, it is near Kelly's.
Is it still there?
I don't know. No? It can't be. It can't be. But great bluegrass music was heard there, and great musicians used to come through there and play too. So there was some great stuff happening.
So what's the home of bluegrass music now? Is it the Starlight? I know they had the...
Yeah, I would have to say the Starlight. It's mostly a jam session. There's not one bar that Yeah, you know, I don't know if you were, for a while we had a wonderful place called the Elizabeth Moose. Did you ever go there?
No.
That was like a mecca. This, it was, it just, a man, Rod McNeil, who was a Moose member, was just crazy about bluegrass. So he turned this conventional Moose into like one of the showcase listening rooms in the country.
I didn't know that.
Oh, and he had every great bluegrass band in the country played there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know that they have, you know, an old time jam over at Ham Bones, and
Yeah.
I think you know, Lawrenceville has some places that.
Well, the Thunderbirds has some bluegrass, but they're actually my favorite bar. They have the most roots music, I think. Club Cafe is kind of
More
more
singer-songwriter.
indie.
Yeah.
It's gone more indie.
Yeah, it's changed
Yeah.
somewhat, but they still get a lot of people like Steve Forbert and, you know, coming through, like singer songwriter folks, like more
Yeah.
roots oriented.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, they're the place, the whole music scene in Pittsburgh has changed so much. I mean,
It has, but you know, since I've been here, people complained about it, and you know what? It's fine.
yeah,
You know,
it just moves from one neighbor to the
it
next.
just moves around, and you know, stop complaining. Get out there and play.
Yeah,
You know, sure, yeah, the money stinks. It always stinks. You know, you're supposed to do it for
'Cause you love
fun
it,
and
yeah.
enjoyment. You know, I feel sorry for people trying to do music as a full time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brutal, and
Yeah.
and I have tremendous empathy for them.
Yeah,
But local musicians, give me a break.
yeah. There's plenty of places to play.
There always are.
Yeah, and the one, I mean, there were some good places that closed, like Graffiti, and
Yeah.
you know, that was a really cool place.
It
And
was great.
the balcony for jazz was awesome. You know,
Yeah,
the
it was.
good jazz
It
club.
really was.
Yeah,
The
number.
Decade.
Yeah, oh, that was
Decade was a great bar.
great rock bar. You know, so there's been some kind of places that were just. And Syria Mosque was heartbreaking when they turned
Yeah,
that out.
I know.
Oh man,
I saw wonderful concerts there for sure.
my dad used to have a mobile recording van, and they recorded shows there,
Oh,
and
wow.
they had you know, Frank Zappa and Allman Brothers and
I
the
saw
Doors.
I saw the Allman Brothers, Johnny Winter, and the James Gang. When I was in college, that was a concert.
Wow,
It probably was cheap as hell. I couldn't hear for a couple of days, but
it probably was like $20 or maybe even $15.
Yeah,
to get it, you
yeah.
know. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like you go see a band and you know, it can be half a day's wages or something, or a full day. You know.
well, it's like the country. There's the top 1%, and then there's the rest of us.
Yeah, the gold circle seats.
That's right.
You know, I mean, it amazes me. My daughter wanted to go see his shows, and you know, just even $60 for a ticket to go see an indie band playing at an under 21 club, but it's not even really like playing at, well, not the Civic Arena, but the Console Energy Center. You know, it's like
Right.
down at some place like under 21 or whatever, and $60 a ticket. I'm like, geez, you know, that's just crazy. Yeah, so I one day I want to have my own club. I keep saying that. You
Oh,
know?
good luck with that.
Yeah, you know, they have music, some place for people to play that actually people will come out and listen. I think
Well,
things have changed.
There are
some.
those places, and you know, there are people doing wonderful house concerts now,
Yeah, that's true.
and everybody makes out there. Musicians make a real decent wage doing that.
Yeah, because it's all pretty much pass the hat type of
Yeah,
suggested.
for sure.
Everything goes to the artist. Well, in case you just joined us, we have Rick Malice here in the studio, and he's playing some songs off of his new CD and Heartbreak Town, and you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live, and we broadcast the show at 91.7 FM and stream at WNJR.org. And you can find a video and podcast of the performance here at acousticSongs.com. I'm your host, T. Mitchell Bell, and I've had a great time talking with you about. We could probably talk about music for a long time, but I'd like to hear some, hear some of your.
I think what we have time for.
We have time for couple more. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how.
Okay, how it works. Super. Well, this is mostly fictional, this tune. When we're talking about how I go about songwriting. Mm-hmm. But this was influenced. I started getting into the Bottleneck, mm-hmm. and a couple licks kind of basically inspired this thing. It's kind of a blues.
Okay, cool.
It's called "Baby, Please Don't Give Up on Me." Baby, please don't give up on me. Baby, please don't give up on me. I know I've been distant, I know I've been quiet. Give me some time, I'll make everything right, baby. Please don't give up on me. Baby, please. She never mattered to me. Baby, please. She never mattered to me. I just needed some comfort. I needed a spark. I needed some warmth for my cold, selfish heart. Baby, please. Please don't give up on me. Baby, please. He'll never love you like me. Baby, please. He'll never love you like me. I know all of your secrets, your little white lies. I know what's behind the sweet emerald eyes. Baby, please. Please don't give up on me. Baby, please. You're all I got left in this world. Baby, please. You're all I got left in this world. Well, my mama is buried, daddy long gone. All friends and family moved out of town, baby. Please don't give up on me. Please don't give up on me. Please don't give up on me.
Awesome. That sounded great. That's kind of
My break wasn't so hot, but
your what? Your that sounded great. Looking over at your website, and everybody check out rickmalis.com. That's RICKMALIS. And is that where you post your shows? Do you have coming?
Well, I do that, but I use that as a kind of a blogging story space too, and I also use Reverb Nation.
Okay.
So ReverbNation.com, Rick Malis, and then Reverb.com, The Mavensburg for the Mavens.
Okay. So you have, I'm looking here, January 11th, this looks like the next show with the Mavens. Is that the next?
That sounds about right.
Okay. Right.
Where are we playing?
Hambones.
There you go. Yeah, that's the next show.
And some solo stuff, and then the Mavens, and then some solo stuff, and then the Mavens, and then some solo stuff, and then the Mavens. Yeah, kind of like that. They're rolling. Hey, you have time to play probably one more tune if you want to before we get out of here. I've really enjoyed having you here, and
it was a lot of fun.
Look forward to coming and seeing you play live sometime, and seeing you play with the Mavens. It looks like a great time. So thanks again, Rick Malis. And what are you going to take us out with?
This was a fun tune. I actually started this as just a songwriting exercise. It turned into one of my favorite tunes. It was on Blue and Broken Hearted. It's called 57 Eldorado Cadillac. I was born beside the river by the railroad tracks, underneath the Jones and Laughlin steel mill stacks. Well, my daddy was a catcher in the rolling mill, working night and days so he could pay the bills. One day he went to work and never came back. All left was his Eldorado Cadillac. Get my pick. Cold bomb blew nearly 5 foot high. Well, you can hardly miss when I drove by. John Wing bumper 7 foot wide. Well, I gave every girl in that school a ride. And left that town and never came back in my 57 Eldorado Cadillac. Cadillac, my 57 Eldorado Cadillac. Yeah, from Portland East to Portland West, I put that V8 engine to that test. On 100-mile coffee in Valvoline. Well, I kept things running and I kept things lean. I went 80,000 miles and never backtracked in my 57 Eldorado Cadillac. Well, so much horsepower, so little time. If I don't make Vegas, it'll be a crime. Well, no damn smoke better slow me down. Cause one of them godforsaken desert towns. Yeah, I'm feeling lucky, I'm feeling jacked. Yeah, my 57 Eldorado Cadillac. Yeah, Cadillac, Cadillac. fade out. Cadillac, Cadillac.
Once again, thank you very much, Rick, for being here in the studio. And you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live from WNJR in Washington, Pennsylvania.